on viscosity, performance grade bitumen. And at first, thank you very much, Dr. Krishna. You awake early in the morning, New Jersey, United States. Truly delighted to have you here. So once you're here and once you finish your presentation, so I'm going to introduce you just before they can raise a question to you. Over to you, Dr. Krishna Srinivasan, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Dr. Krishna.
Hi, Simran. Can you hear me?
Very well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. Welcome to all the speakers and the guests. I hope you're having a good show so far. It's truly an honor to be here. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about innovative additives to help improve the performance of bitumen and asphalt mixes. Present some case studies from around the world. I'll start with a brief introduction of the company and then move on to a couple of key products that are helping improve the properties. PGXpand the polymer. ReLIXER is a bio oil that's used for RAP, reclaimed asphalt pavement rejuvenation. And then I'll end with some closing remarks. Very briefly, Sripath makes a range of innovative products, user-friendly, cost-effective additives for both the bitumen and the asphalt mix industry. Wherever possible, we focus on environmentally friendly, sustainable type technology solutions. We are a global company, and one of the facets is wherever we go in the world, we have products evaluated by local experts, academicians, Department of Transportation officials throughout the world. Briefly, we'll talk about our products. I just wanted to introduce you to them. We'll talk about ReLIXER and PGXpand as I outlined in the presentation. But we also make a couple of oils that are available worldwide, Renewbit and NewMixer, and also have an anti-stripping, amine-free chemistry, safe for workers, safe for paving operators. So with that, let me move to PGXpand. What is it? It's a specially engineered polymer that boosts the high temperature properties without affecting the low temperature properties of the bitumen. It provides for excellent rutting and fatigue resistance on the roadways and helps lower the viscosity of mix. While it's improving the properties, it helps lower the viscosity of mixes. How do you use it? Very plant-friendly operations, low shear mixing processes, short mixing times, lower temperatures of mixing, highly storage stable, and we'll walk through some of these properties. And overall, in conjunction with the dosage efficiency, PGXpand provides cost reduction for current producers of mixes, current users of polymer-modified mixes. Just a brief timeline, I neglected to mention earlier on, we service both the paving and the roofing industry. PGXpand has been in use around the world now for the better part of maybe 6 years and certainly gaining traction in many more new regions around the globe. What is it and what does it do? Here is a base bitumen with a softening point of about 48 degrees C. Addition of small dosages, 1.5 to 3% of PGXpand, almost doubles the softening point and shows the hardening of penetration that you expect with polymer modification. What you will notice, this is for folks who are used to PG grades. You will see that it does not change the low temperature grade while it is boosting the high temperature grade. While the softening point is going up, the low temperature properties are maintained. And again, while the high temperature properties are improving, you can see a attendant reduction in viscosity of your bitumen, anywhere from 5 to 15%. This is in the case of a neat binder. This is in the case of an SBS modified binder. It plays very well with SBS, with other elastomeric polymers such as alveoli and crumb rubber as well. Here the base binder has, because of the SBS addition, has a softening point around 66 degrees. Again, the same addition 1 to 3% of PGXpand nearly doubles the softening point. With the pen hardening that you see, the viscosity is much more manageable. It is a plastomer, so it will not provide elastic recovery, but does provide outstanding property profile in mixes. Here is the cigar tube storage stability of the material. In this test, your PGXpand dosed bitumen is maintained at 165 for 72 hours. The top third and the bottom third is cut off. And here we have measured G-star sine delta using DSR rheometry. But you could also measure softening point, you could measure phase angle, you could measure penetration. In this case, looking at G-star over sine delta, a rheometric measurement across 3 different temperatures, you're seeing less than a 5% variation in properties between the top and the bottom. So it is exceptionally storage stable while it is providing these kinds of property improvements. Here is the viscosity versus temperature curve of a PGXpand sample. The blue curve is the viscosity of the base binder as a function of temperature, and the green curve is the viscosity of the PGXpand modified. While it is improving the high temperature properties, you can see across the entire compaction production temperature span a 5 to 15% reduction in bitumen viscosity. So while it's improving the properties, it is becoming more user-friendly. Here is the Hamburg rutting data. This data comes to us courtesy of our Indian customer. Here is the Hamburg rutting resistance. This is the Hamburg wheel tracking result, rut depth versus number of passes for a base binder. Here it is VG30. The black line is for the same binder with 3.5% of SBS, and the golden curve is one for the binder with 1.2% of PGXpand. The selection of these 2 dosages was based on the fact that this was the dosage, 3.5% SBS or 1.2% PGXpand, that was responsible for getting the base binder to a softening point of 72 degrees softening point. What you can see is not just in rut depth as a function of number of passes, but by any measure of rutting resistance, the incremental growth rate, the PI, any number of terms, measurements of rutting resistance, the rutting properties of PGXpand are truly exceptional. This data comes to us courtesy of Australian customers. Plotted here is a very similar curve, Hamburg wet wheel tracking, in this case done wet at 50 degrees C. You can see as a function of dosage of PGXpand loading, the mix shows increasing rutting resistance. Here is the stiffness data, G-star data for again, parametrically plotted as a function of concentration of PGXpand in your binder. As I mentioned, this data is in compliance with the A35P specs in Australia. Here is the fatigue performance. Again, this is a 4-point beam bending fatigue, 20 degrees C, 10 hertz loading. 2 examples, 2 mix examples, one with 1.75% PGXpand and one with 4% of SBS, roughly to get to the same high temperature grade. And you'll notice that the PGXpand sample is able to maintain the low temperature properties a little bit better. As a function of different microstrain loading, you can see that the fatigue resistance of PGXpand mixes is truly excellent. Here is a case study, a test case, maybe about a year and a half ago or so, of a roadway laid down with the PGXpand in the state of Andhra Pradesh in India, extremely hot climates. The owner of the road was a Cube, and the contractor of record was ART. What you can see also is the comments of the paver operator, who found it to be an excellent material, very user-friendly, able to compact very easily, able to compact at lower temperatures, while it is providing the exceptional high temperature properties. So how do you use this in a lab or in a plant environment? Excuse me. Very easy to mix in. Temperature ranges typically of about 150 to about 163 degrees C. Low shear mixing, paddle wheel mixing is more than enough. You do not need high shear mixers. However, high shear mixers do not degrade. Use of high shear mills does not degrade the PGXpand or the bitumen. It is fairly user friendly. Typical mixing times, depending on whether you have recirculation in your tank or not, can be anywhere from 1 to 3 hours before it's completely ready. And as I noted to you before, while it is added to the bitumen, PGXpand will help with the operations because it helps to lower viscosity, unlike other conventional polymers that are used for polymer modification. With that, let me switch gears briefly and introduce another innovative idea that's being practiced across the globe. The use of reclaimed asphalt pavement is gaining greater and greater acceptance. It is environmentally friendly. It makes use of your RAP or reclaimed asphalt pavement piles that are accumulating as a consequence of all the road widening efforts and the new road building efforts. And we have an excellent bio oil, ReLIXER, that's used to aid in the process. Before I get to some of the properties of ReLIXER, let me point out some of the basic factors that people consider while choosing rejuvenators or recycling agents. This is a very standard waterfall type chart. The first question is, does it soften the hard bitumen in RAP? If it does it adjust the grade or adjust the properties? It could be softening point grade, it could be viscosity grade, it could be PG grade. Does it help get you the properties that you're looking for that are specified? Next, does it allow for compaction of stiff, brittle mixes with high percentages of reclaimed asphalt pavement? And finally, does it provide you the same level of properties that you're used to, long-term properties, durability on the roadway? ReLIXER penetrates very rapidly, and we'll talk a little bit more. Before that, just a brief introduction. How do you design for high RAP mixes? The most common principles around the world is a concept known as balanced mix design. In balanced mix design, you're looking to optimize between two competing properties: rutting resistance of your mix, or how hard the mix is, and fracture toughness or fatigue performance of your mix, or how soft your mix is. You're looking to adjust these two contrasting properties to achieve the correct durability profile that you're looking for on the roadway. A couple of key points to remember while you're designing high RAP mixes: you need to adjust your virgin bitumen loading. This is because you are now asking your rejuvenator or recycling agent to make more and more of the RAP bitumen, the hard, stiff RAP bitumen, contribute to meaningful, effective properties. So you should adjust your virgin bitumen loading. And finally, you need to choose an effective rejuvenator that helps to achieve all these balance of properties. So with that, what is ReLIXER? As I mentioned to you, it's a bio-based oil, no burden on food sources, no VOCs, low carbon footprint, very dosage efficient, very easy to incorporate into your mix or to your bitumen, liquid on liquid type mixing, non-hazardous, safe to handle, and most importantly, given that it is being used around the globe, it has to be compatible with grades of RAP and grades of bitumen commonly found around the globe. I will talk a little bit more about this because it is designed to make more and more of your bitumen act like virgin bitumen, RAP bitumen act like virgin bitumen, and because it reduces the need for fresh aggregates, it does help in reducing your mix cost from your conventional mixes, as well as provides an excellent property profile on the roadways. Again, a brief calendar of the product with adoption pretty much around the world, has been used now for the better part of maybe 6 or 7 years around the globe. So this is a chart that explains what is rejuvenation and what rejuvenators really do. It's a busy chart, so I'll take my time to explain it. Let's take the case of mix 1. In mix 1A, you're using 40% reclaimed asphalt pavement. In mix 1B, you're also using 40% reclaimed asphalt pavement. In mix 1A, there is no rejuvenator, no ReLIXER. In mix 1B, you're adding 0.28% by weight of ReLIXER. What you're doing is you're making the mix, you're extracting the bitumen, and you're measuring the properties. And again, I've mentioned a range of different properties. No matter where you are in the world, you can probably identify with some of these properties. North America and New Zealand, you tend to focus on PG grading. In Australia, in India, you certainly look at the viscosity of the extracted bitumen. And for folks in Europe and South America, the more traditional softening point penetration relationships. So what happens to the extracted bitumen? As you can see, the addition of ReLIXER helps dramatically improve the viscosity profile. From a 8,500 centipoise viscosity at 135, you're able to go to about a 3,000 centipoise bitumen. Helps to improve the low temperature properties, moves it to a -22, which is much more common with paving grade bitumens, and also the associated pen properties that you can see here, bringing it more in line with the 25 to 30 pen material commonly used for paving across the globe. As you step from mix 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, what you're increasing is the recycled bitumen content. So for example, in the case of mix 1, it's about 45%. In the case of mix 2, 50, 60, and so on and so forth till 80. As you can see in mix 4, for A, no rejuvenator. For B, with about 1% by weight of ReLIXER rejuvenator. The recycled content in these mixes is about 80%. What you can see is the dramatic lowering of viscosity from about uncompactable 48,000 viscosity. You're moving it more in line with, let's say, a traditional PMB type viscosity that you can pave with. You can see the attendant change in low temperature properties, and most importantly, you can also see the penetration values from almost a 0 pen material. It's making the effective bitumen almost a 30 pen type material. Some case studies, I'll start with some case studies from around the globe. In India, there is a rich tradition of high wrap base course mixes using rejuvenation. Here you can see 50 and 60% wrap being used in base courses with rejuvenation. And they were using stability and flow as their spec parameters. Here you can see a case of a 40% wrap mix, 5% total bitumen, comparing two cases, a petrochemical rejuvenator and ReLIXER rejuvenator. And what you can see is the dramatic improvement in long-term properties, in addition to the dosage efficiency of ReLIXER over petrochemical oils and the improvement in low temperature properties. This is a test case of Illinois Tollway. Illinois Tollway is a very busy arterial highway through much of Illinois and Wisconsin in North America. 16 lanes of traffic, very heavy traffic, extremes of weather condition. And they were looking at ReLIXER. This is, by the way, has been written up in Asphalt Pro magazine. Certainly we can make it available to members of the audience who are interested. A good case study of a cooperative effort between the Illinois Tollway, the Roadway Authority, between a contractor, independent test labs, between certainly Sripath, us, and university. to be able to make mixes. This was about maybe at least 20 hours of mix production, lay down of about 8 to 10 lane kilometers on base course, on wear layer course, and shoulders. They also employed 1 grade softer bitumen. In this case, the Rejuvenator, that one of the test cases was a Rejuvenator 1 grade softer. And you can see that the DCT properties, the fracture toughness properties, they were using DCT as their measure of fracture toughness. They were using Hamburg wheel rutting as a measure of their rutting resistance. As you can see, the ReLIXER samples, this is 2% of ReLIXER to a normal grade bitumen, not a softer grade, normal grade bitumen, certainly brought the material in line with specs. They were certainly impressed enough with this that they wanted us to try and make a slightly higher dosage so that they could try and improve upon the cracking spec parameter. What you can also see is the exceptional aging resistance. Delta TC is a measure of aging resistance. I'll talk about it a little bit more, but also the dosage efficiency. Here you can see the reduction in the virgin bitumen added into the mix. And again, that's what helped provide, while maintaining properties, it helped provide a measure of cost reduction from their baseline mix. Let me spend a moment and talk about durability. Again, this is a very important parameter. It's not simply important to make a cheaper cost mix, but also to demonstrate that the mix that you laid down on the roadway has some durability characteristics. Busy chart, let me take my some time to explain it. Here we're measuring ideal CT as a measure of fracture toughness. This is a mix made with no wrap and 5.5% virgin bitumen. You're measuring ideal CT as a function of aging parameters, loose mix oven aging. Predictably, you can see the drop in properties as a function. This is a no wrap mix as a function of more and more aging on the roadway. We took this data and simply put it here and compared it to 2 cases, both with 30% wrap and 4% virgin bitumen. In case A, it was rejuvenated with 5% petrochemical oil, and in case B, it was rejuvenated with 3% ReLIXER. What you can see here is that the ideal CT number is fairly comparable as upon immediate manufacturing. However, as you age the mix, you can see that the aging performance, the aged ideal CT number of the petrochemical dosed rejuvenated mix was not nearly as good as your control mix. That is not the case with ReLIXER. For both the 30% wrap mix as well as for the 50% wrap mix, you can see that it provides equivalent long-term performance. And I use this graph to highlight that with the right rejuvenator, with the right mix design, with the right dosage selection, it is possible to engineer roads with long-term performance, with high wrap that show long-term performance that's similar to mixes with no wrap or low wrap. As I mentioned earlier, this is delta TC data. Delta TC is a measure of the difference between the stiffness and the compliance in a BBR. Here is base bitumen that is aged. This is the delta TC number after aging, after PAV aging. This is for the base bitumen. This is the delta TC number for 1 grade softer bitumen obtained from the same refinery. A lower delta TC number is poorer than a higher delta TC number. And here is the delta TC number of this base bitumen rejuvenated with ReLIXER and then subject to 2x PAV, 40-hour PAV aging. And you can see that it is able to preserve the aging properties of the bitumen much better than softer bitumens. So you've done all of this. How do you incorporate high wrap mixes in your plant? Like any input raw material, treat it carefully, measure it well. It is always good practice to try and reduce your wrap piles to different gradation size. you can incorporate more and more wrap if you make more and more fractions. This is simply to meet the gradation spec requirement, dry gradation spec requirement that you have to meet. Minimize the dust. Typically, if you want to use high percentages of wrap, you need to have some kind of wrap heating, preheating, and you should control the moisture in your wrap by tarping the pile over. In general, when you have more moisture in your wrap, it acts as a heat sink in your drum mixer or in your pug mill or in your batch plant operation. ReLIXER is remarkably friendly, a free-flowing liquid under most conditions. It can be added to the wrap conveyor that is leading to your drum mixer or your batch mixer. It can be co-mixed with your virgin bitumen and dosed into your mixer, into your drum mixer, or it could be co-injected, co-blended in line using a variable pump with your virgin bitumen, so you're able to adjust how much exactly rejuvenation you are able to add to your mix. How much wrap can your plant handle? That is something only you can answer based on your local conditions. How much heating do you have? How much capability do you have to add wrap? But in general, high wrap mixes typically, why would you even do this? Certainly there's the environmental friendly aspect, the low carbon footprint aspect, the reuse of material aspect, but most importantly, it helps you utilize one of the most valuable resources. One of the previous speakers alluded to the fact that we are facing more and more, we're facing a reduction in the supply and the quality of bitumen. So here is an opportunity to reuse the bitumen in your reclaimed asphalt pavement. Here are two mixes, control mix made with 15% wrap and no rejuvenation. This is the cost index of that mix. This is another mix made with 40% wrap and about 0.1% by weight of rejuvenator. As you can see, the cost of the high wrap mix with ReLIXER is anywhere from 5 to 15% lower, based on your local circumstances. Why is that? It's because you are forcing more and more of the wrap bitumen to act like virgin bitumen, so you're able to reduce. Certainly you're able to reduce the amount of input aggregate, virgin aggregate, but you're also able to lower your virgin bitumen addition that helps to provide cost reduction. Very briefly, quite a few other applications for PGXpand and for ReLIXER. Here is an example of spray seal application for chip seal applications frequented in many parts of the world. Adding PGXpand to the bitumen instead of, let's say, crumb rubber or SBS modification vastly improves the high temperature properties, is easy to disperse, outstanding rutting resistance, and certainly excellent performance and durability. Both ReLIXER and PGXpand are also used in emulsions for chip seals, for microsurfacings, for slurry seals, for fog seals. In the case of both, very easy to use. In the case of ReLIXER, with or without wrap, adding a little bit of ReLIXER to the bitumen emulsion certainly helps soften and rejuvenate the aged pavement surface, so it is better able to accept, better able to bond with the fresh surface being put down. If you're using wrap, as in the case of a slurry seal or in the case of a maintenance operation, the train operations that are common throughout the world, you can certainly add ReLIXER to help rejuvenate the wrap bitumen. Use of PGXpand in modified emulsion bitumens is also gaining traction. Here, the key difference is, instead of adding a rubber latex to your colloid mill, you dissolve the PGXpand in your bitumen through a very easy low shear operation, and then use that bitumen to make your emulsions. In the case of both PGXpand and ReLIXER, you can do anionic, you can do cationic, you can do non-ionic emulsions, you can do rapid set, you can do slow set, or any combination in between. And what both products offer is exceptional performance with ease of use and ease of production. So with that, let me move to some of the closing remarks. I hope I've introduced you to some of through some case studies, introduced you to some of the uses of a unique polymer, PGXpand, truly easy to use, easy to disperse, excellent property profile, as well as ReLIXER oil, a commonly used, increasingly commonly used oil for RAP, reclaimed asphalt pavement rejuvenation, not only environmental friendly, but also helping to provide cost reduction to the contractor who's putting down the roadway. So with that, happy to take questions. Please feel free to reach out to us. Here is some information. Happy to answer any questions.
Very much. We're truly thankful. Ladies and gentlemen, at first, may I please request all of you to kindly put your hands together for Dr. Krishna Srinivasan, the president of Sripath Technologies, LLC. And as I said, yes, after his presentation, I'm going to definitely introduce him. So in case you have any questions, feel free to raise. One question is what we can take. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Krishna Srinivasan established Sripath Technologies in 2006 and has over 25 years of hands-on expertise in the bitumen industry. He received his PhD from the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, USA. And he's a paving and roofing technology expert with a strong record of delivering cutting-edge innovative portfolio of additives to enhance the performance of bitumen. Ladies and gentlemen, at first, may I please request each and every one of you to kindly put your hands together. Dr. Krishna Srinivasan. Is there a question right now? Thank you. Thank you. We're truly thankful to you, Dr. Krishna, sir. And I must say, on a Sunday morning, that we had to actually, probably let you know and give you the time so early in the morning. Sincere apologies for the same, but thank you so much. Your smile says it all. And you seem to be like a bright sunshine there in New Jersey, though it's very chill out there. Thank you so much, Dr. Sir.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Krishna, sir. Humble thanks to you, dear sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to invite our speaker.